Welcome to the Creator's Adventure, where we interview creators from around the world hearing their stories about growing a business. My name is Brian McNulty. I'm the founder of Heights Platform, and today I'm talking with Cary Jack about how to enjoy the journey in your business, avoid burnout, and find balance in your work and life. Hey everyone, we're here today with Cary Jack. He is a lifestyle entrepreneur, author, podcast host, professional actor slash model, humanitarian, and nature lover. He is also the founder of The Happy Hustle, whose mission is to educate, inspire, and entertain while reminding you to enjoy the journey, not the destination, as you happy hustle for a life of passion and purpose. Cary, welcome to the show.
Hey, Brian. Grateful to be here, man.
So can you share with us a little bit of the story of how you started the business and the idea behind the Happy Hustle?
Yeah, man. So I've always been an entrepreneur. Growing up, that was just my path. I never was a good employee per se. I've always, really liked that mentality of I actually get to, eat what I hunt. And I don't necessarily, I don't follow directions that well, so I was always like, all right, let me just do it my own way. Fast forward, I had a tech startup in New York City for one of my companies, and I was burning the candle at both ends. I was working probably 100 plus hour weeks, getting less than 5 hours of sleep, and we were soliciting this big, VC funding play. And we actually ended up landing a seven-figure VC funding deal. We had partnerships with Microsoft and IBM on the table. We had, this algorithm that we built quantifying feedback, which could be utilized across different industries. And, it had this promise of a 5-year exit, big payout, all the things, But unfortunately, we just lost passion and purpose around it. And, we burn out, my brother and I, my brother and I were co-founders. And so I actually moved to Bangkok, Thailand for about 10 months. And we folded our company, said no to the seven-figure deals, partnerships, everything, 18 months of hard work. And I figured out over in Thailand a better way to work and live, a way to basically be happy within the everyday hustle. And I also made like my first, dollars online over there. And it was there where the Happy Hustle was born. And that's, really become my mission for the past couple of years, is to really help other entrepreneurs avoid burnout and achieve this blissful balance. Because I truly believe balance equals happiness. So that's how the Happy Hustle started.
Awesome. So we noticed you mentioned on your website bio that you grew up in a difficult environment, encountering adversities in your life and your business. What do you think helped you to overcome the failures and get to the point that you're at today?
Well, I just think having, a resilient mindset, really, I believe if there's this one statement that resonated with me so greatly. Actually, it's from Zig Ziglar. He talks about persistent consistency. That's just been a theme in my life. When everything, goes awry, what stays true is the persistent consistency, and just keep the course, or maybe you need to pivot, but then keep the course. It's just one of those things that I think has allowed me to persevere past adversity. And make no mistake, when you're a creator, it's part of the game. Adversity is going to strike, but being persistent and consistent will allow you to overcome.
Awesome. So let's talk a little bit about burnout then. You mentioned how you experienced it in the past with a business venture. This is something that many entrepreneurs experience at some point in their journey. So can you share any tips on how to either prevent or cure that feeling of burnout?
Yeah, well, again, circling back to balance, for me, when I was in that burned out state, I really had to look at my life in these different areas in which I was allocating focus or was not allocating focus. And that kind of became my framework for the happy hustle, which is called the 10 alignments of being a happy hustler. It makes up an acronym called soul mapping, your soul's map to the blissfully balanced promised land. And I'm happy to run through those 10 different alignments if you think it'd be beneficial for your audience.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do that. That was one of the things I was planning to ask. So can you explain a little bit about how that framework works?
Yeah. And actually, I'll do one even better. Brian, if you're feeling brave, what I'd like to do is actually put you on the spot and take you through this quick assessment. And for all of the creators out there who are listening and watching, this is something that I actually recommend you do in conjunction with Brian and I. So, listening to podcasts is great, but being an active participant is really where the magic happens. And so everyone out there, I'll go through these 10 different alignments, and I want you to quantify yourself 1 to 5. 5 is an A, you're crushing it. 1 is an F, means you're failing. I wasn't much for school, but I do know the grading scale. So just picture yourself in the last 30 days. Where would you honestly rank yourself? 5 is an A, 1 is an F, and then obviously you can fill in the gap, 2, 3, and 4, meaning D, C, and B. So, Brian, we'll start with S, which is the first of the alignments. It's selfless service. Okay. Selfless service. Are you actually, giving back to others, your time, your money, your expertise? Or, are you living more for yourself and for your own business and for your own personal gain? And I'll tell you, man, I was just volunteering yesterday with the adaptive horsemanship therapy out here in Montana with kids with special needs and helping them ride horses. And it lit me up. It always does, but like that just gives me so much fulfillment giving back to others. So ask yourself right now, 1 to 5, where you're at in this alignment, selfless service. And I'll come back and we'll get an assessment of where you're at in the first 4, and then we'll recap the last 6 afterwards. So write down your score. If you're driving, maybe just memorize it, be safe. But we'll start with that S. Now we get to the O, optimized health. Okay. Optimized health is, are you mentally and physically optimized? Or maybe not so much. Maybe you're shoving garbage down your pie hole, right? You're eating trash foods and you're not moving the body and working out and getting that sweat. Honestly, where you're at in the last 30 days, rank yourself 1 to 5. Okay. 5's an A, 1's an F. You unplugged digitally. Now, this is one, it's very difficult for creators, like Brian and I, we are on our devices. We utilize tech for our businesses. However, you have to use tech and not let it use you. And you really have to set barriers in order to, be in control of your device time. Rank honestly where you're at in this one. Are you constantly scrolling social media, watching Netflix and listening to Bluetooth headphones and doing all the things? Or, do you get outside and disconnect? Rank where you're at in you. Okay. Unplug digitally. L, loving relationships. Okay. Now this one, you get it. Like what's it all for if you don't have love in your life, right? You got to have love. And I find most really successful people that you see out there, they actually, and I don't want to generalize most, but I'll say a great deal actually are lacking in their loving relationships because they sacrifice so much to get to the top.
Yeah.
And I was in that same realm when I was running my tech startup, and I couldn't do it anymore because I was just so out of balance. And I really think this one oftentimes is overlooked. We disregard our family and our friends and our loving relationships, especially those intimate, significant, relationships in our inner circle, just to get that success. And that was my early driver, profit, success, ego, all the things society deems important. But when you actually, focus on all these 10 alignments and giving equal importance to each, then that's where the magic happened. That's where you start happy hustling. So those are the first 4. You should have 4 scores right now, Brian. You feeling brave? You want to share where you're at?
Yeah, sure, I will. So let me, should I add it all together? Is that the deal?
No, just go through individually for now, and then we'll add it at the end.
Got it. So number 1, I gave myself a 5. I'm really happy with where I'm at with that. I'm always trying to give back and to service customers, other people in my life as much as possible. Second one, the health. That's the one that I rated myself the lowest, which I gave myself a 2 for that. And the reason that my excuse is I have a 4-month-old daughter, and any chance of working out or anything at all has completely gone away from me in the past 3 or 4 months, basically. So I got to work on that part again.
Yep.
The unplugging digitally, I gave myself a 4. I am really strict about that with different things. I make sure to pretty much completely ignore anything on the computer every Sunday. And I will go back to things, I guess, at times, checking emails or things like that. But I do have a very strict schedule for myself as far as like when I have to. If I do it at other times, it's if I'm purposefully on the computer. But like there's time for family, time for all of that, like already set aside. Family, all that, relationships. I couldn't be happier with that. So I gave myself a 5 for that. So yeah, overall, I'm pretty happy. I got to get the health thing going back better though.
Yeah. And here's the thing, and for you, Brian, and everyone out there listening, going through this assessment, this is a baseline, right? The first step to any change is awareness, right? So we're getting a baseline established here, but you also have to give yourself grace. You have to give yourself grace throughout this process. So now let's get to the mapping part. All right. So M stands for mindful spirituality, right? Are you connecting with a higher power? Do you have faith in something bigger than yourself? I don't really care what God you believe in, one or another. I just care that you have faith in something bigger than yourself. Maybe you're practicing prayer or meditation or breath work, something that connects you. Okay, so rank where you're at in this one, mindful spirituality. A, abundance financially. Okay, are you living paycheck to paycheck in fear of your finances? Or, maybe you're saving, investing, and spending wisely, right? And yeah, there's an economic downturn taking place. So a lot of people are really hyper-focused on abundance financially, but truly, this isn't the most important alignment. They're all equally important. P, this is personal development, right? You're either growing and evolving or you're shrinking and dissolving, right? Those are your 2 choices. So you really want to make sure that you're growing every single day. And I have a 90-minute system that I implement every single day, Monday through Friday, for personal growth. It's, read 30 minutes in the morning, listen to 30 minutes of something educational and inspirational in the afternoon, and then watch something for 30 minutes in the evening, something inspirational and educational. And that guarantees that I'm trending the right direction, right? The second P, so rank where you're at in that one, personal development. The second P in the mapping part is passionate hobbies. So you got, your hobbies that probably you grew up really loving and enjoying. And I find a lot of high performers are completely lacking in this one. They're just so focused on their business and their success of their clients. And that's all great, but you have to, lead life with a full cup. And for me, I love fly fishing. I love horseback riding, snowboarding, getting out after it in my martial arts practices. Like those are things that I cannot live without. I wouldn't be a happy hustler if I didn't have my passionate hobbies. I played, my soccer game last night with all the guys. It's like those light me up, so it's really important that you have passionate hobbies. Rank where you're at in that one right now. I, impactful work. Okay. Rank, truly where you're at in terms of your career. Do you feel that passion, which is like, okay, that inward calling on your heartstrings to really solve this problem for that purpose, which is like that outward serving mission. Like who are you actually solving the problem for? To actually make a positive impact, and those are like 3 buzzwords. Sure, you hear them a ton, but like when you actually break them down at their core, like that's what the happy hustle is all about, is really making sure that you're getting up every day excited. Like, and sure, there's going to be days where you got to do things you don't like. I get it. I'm, this coming from the guy who wore a banana suit in front of a smoothie shop. Okay. Like that was my job. So I get it. I've had to do a whole bunch of things for money that I didn't necessarily enjoy. But the goal is to get to a place where every day you feel fulfilled with what you do. So rank where you're at in I. impactful work. And then N stands for nature connection. So, truly assess, like, how often are you actually getting outside in nature? Like disconnecting from your devices and everything and life's noises, society's noises, and really, tapping into Mother Nature's glory. And I just actually got back from 5 days in the wilderness. I host a event called the Montana Mastermind Epic Camping Adventure, where I take high performing entrepreneurs into the backcountry wilderness with me for 5 days. And we basically do a complete digital detox, tap into our primal nature, learn primitive survival skills, fly fishing. We do breath work, meditation, primal workouts. We have a business mastermind. It's like one of the highlights of my year. Actually, I do a couple of them a year, but that just charges me up. It's so rejuvenating because A, I'm in nature, and B, I'm disconnected from all society's noise. And a lot of the guys who come on these, they leave just so charged up, ready to crush it in their business. And I think it's really important that we integrate more with nature. And also, it's important that we protect Mother Nature. It's like people have just been decimating our planet with poor practices, unsustainable supply chains. And I really think it's important that we vote with our dollar and become conscious consumers. Supporting B corporations and corporations that are doing things the right way is imperative now more than ever. So we can, protect our planet for future generations, right? So rank where you're at in N, nature connection. So you should have 6 scores now, Brian. Let's hear that mapping part and where'd you end up?
All right, so I didn't write down the names of each one, but I wrote down the score. So the first one, I gave myself a 4. Which was that again?
Mindful spirituality.
Okay, yeah, I gave myself a 4 on that. I think I did let. I think I'm usually slightly better, like where I would want to be, but the hustle and bustle, all the craziness of the past couple months has gotten me away from that a little bit, so I do need to work on that. Next one, which was that?
Abundance financially.
All right, for that one, I'm giving myself a 4 because I think there's no way I can complain of anything of where I'm at, but I feel that if I was swaying anywhere in my balance, it's that I need to actually drive a little bit more attention into marketing and the sales side. I see myself more as like the creative type, where I enjoy the creating part so much that I might tend to neglect the marketing parts if I don't force myself to. Next one, which was that?
Personal development.
That one I gave myself a 5 for. I'm really happy with that. I feel I'm really growing pretty much every day with things I'm working on. I'm really, I guess, dedicating to time for that. Next one is like hobbies and things, right?
Passionate hobbies. Yep.
Yeah, that one I gave myself a 4. Normally I'd be a 5. I think that's something that the newborn is affecting a little bit, but that's something I'm really passionate about. Making sure that there's time for those hobbies. Even like part of my feeling behind building Heights is related to that I want people to be able to use my product as like an extension of doing what they enjoy, so that they have more time to do the things that they enjoy. So for me, that's things like guitar, music, games, time with my family, things like that. Bunch of stuff, but I make sure to always have time for that. I think like that helps you be creative back into your business later on. So,
Yep.
Then the next one was the nature, right?
Impactful work.
Impactful work. Impactful work. I gave myself a 5, and that I'm also really happy with. That I put a real lot of thought into that though. I feel like I've done a lot of things in business, and I had the kind of realization, and even seeing from experience and talking with others, that they reached a certain level of success without the impact and the lack of satisfaction from doing so. So I made it a criteria for myself to figure out how can I do something that will have a positive impact as well. But not only in the business, but yeah. So I gave myself a 5 for that. For the nature one, I gave myself a 2. because going for walks with my wife and a newborn once in a while, but definitely not enough of that recently. So definitely got to spend more time on that, I think.
Hmm. Well, and that's the thing. It's like now you can look at your scores and everyone out there listening and watching. Like, again, this is a baseline. This is just bringing to your awareness where you're lacking the last 30 days. And, I actually take my own medicine every Sunday. I do the same assessment and I actually look at the last 7 days and I can see where I'm lacking in that last 7 days. So then I can prioritize change accordingly for the 7 days prior. And I actually have a whiteboard fridge magnet that has these 10 different areas that I put on. I actually, well, it's over there, but I have, it's called a blissful balancer. So you can check where you're at in real time and you actually keep track of each of these different alignments. So for instance, selfless service could be, hey, did you give 15 minutes of time or expertise today? Right? Yes or no? Did you do it? It's binary, right? There's no gray area. You did or you didn't. And that way at the end of the week, you'll see there should be 7X's filled out and you get a score of 7 if you're crushing it and you're happy hustling. If not, maybe you missed a couple of days. So that way you can really track your time and your balance, right? In each of these different areas. So for everyone out there and for you, Brian, if you want to take this to the finish line, actually add up your scores. So you should have all 10 of your scores added up. If you're 37 or above, congratulations, you're happy hustling. If you're 36 or below, well, unfortunately, you got some work to do. So, Brian, where'd you end up?
Let's see. I don't have a calculator, so I gotta go add these up. So
I know. And everyone out there listening too, you should add these up as well.
yeah, well, it looks like I am below. I kind of wrote everything in my notes in kind of a mess. It looks like I am a little bit below. Um, so I do
Yeah.
have some things to work on. Um,
Yeah.
but I actually have a question for you. So like I do really, really value business or balance in my business. I rather be the most balanced than the most successful. Um, that is a really important thing to me personally. So it is an area that I really focus on myself in like keeping like health, relationships, all of that is equally as important as like the business success to me. So I like to think I'm doing a pretty good job of that and enjoying the journey in my business as well. But one area where I feel I could improve is maybe reflecting on like milestones and achievements with my team a little bit better. So like I feel like I will enjoy the whole process, and the problem might be that I'm moving on to like that next milestone a bit too quickly, without like enough reflection on it. So do you have any suggestions for me or somebody like me in that situation?
Well, one thing that I just talked about um, on my podcast, The Happy Hustle, was an after action recap. So, an after action recap is after you spend time, with a sufficient amount of output for maybe you're hosting your event or you completed a project or a speaking gig or consulting or whatever you do for your business, product, or service. An after action recap oftentimes helps you assess and celebrate your wins and learn from your losses. And I like to ask myself these three questions. What should I start doing? What should I stop doing? What should I keep doing? And it's really, it's a basic assessment, but you can identify mistakes made, lessons learned, and, evolution's necessary to really continuously improve. So that's kind of what I would recommend for you, Brian, is really do an after action recap, of your big projects when you complete a milestone so that you can celebrate them, but you can also learn from places where you can improve.
Cool. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I think we do a little bit of that, but I guess more of it should be done kind of all together with everybody. Yeah, I like that. So
Awesome.
we were looking at also your book, and we noticed right now if somebody wants to read your book, they can get it for free on your website and only pay for the shipping. And this is a pretty popular strategy nowadays. But for other creators, if maybe they're thinking about making a book or something like that, Can you explain a little bit of like the reasoning behind that strategy?
Yeah. So the free plus shipping model, this is something I did with my former business, which was a biohacking company. And, we were basically coaching elite performers and, professional athletes, Fortune 500 CEOs, et cetera. And we had this really successful book funnel that, essentially gets people in the door at a low ticket purchase price, and then you nurture them through your value ladder. And for all the creators out there, I really recommend the free plus shipping book funnel for people who have multiple offers. Now, if you're just a creator and all you have, like, or not just a creator, but if you're a creator and all you have is just a course, then this strategy isn't going to be applicable right now. Now, in order to make a free plus shipping book funnel work, you have to have items that you sell, products or services that you sell on the back end to essentially recoup the break even or sometimes the loss on the front end. So for example, if you go to thehappyhustlebook.com, you could see my funnel. You could see the front end. You can get the book. The book is basically free. Like, you don't pay for the book, you pay for the shipping and handling. I'm very close to break even on that purchase. I'm a little bit, I come out a little bit ahead on that front end. But then where I really start to win is if someone wants the plus $19 OTO, which is the one-time, order bump, which you'll see if you go to that book funnel, you'll get an extra copy of the book. You'll get the audiobook version, which I narrated, and you'll get 3 expert masterclasses, which are really it's a ton of value in there for $19. That one OTO makes that offer profitable, and I have like a 34% take rate on that OTO. So someone who maybe comes to my page, they just think they're getting a book, then 1 out of every 3 people are taking the OTO. The next page I have is an actual course, which goes with the book, and my blissful balancer, which is that whiteboard fridge magnet that I talked about, which is it's for people who really want to implement everything. They can get all that. Normally it's $97. They get it on that page, one-time offer only, for $47. So then that one I have, I don't know, it's a 14% take rate or something right now. I got to look at the most recent stats my team sent me. But then there's a portion of people who take that next upsell. The next one is my membership community, the Happy Hustle Club, where I have a monthly recurring model of really high performing entrepreneurs and creators all coming together to join the club. That, portion of people take that one. And then my final page is a thank you page, drives them to my podcast. And I also have an opportunity for the right people to come on one of my Montana masterminds. That flow makes that whole funnel profitable. There's a portion of people who do take that higher ticket event, and they join me on these very exclusive, events. They're not right for everybody. You have to be making a certain minimum, in terms of revenue every year. You have to, pass the beer test, which is very important to me. I actually have to want to get a beer with you. There's criteria. So it's not right for everyone, but that free plus shipping funnel can be really effective for you and your business as a creator if you do have multiple offerings that all tie together.
Yeah, that's great. So one more question, like diving deeper into that, if you don't mind sharing, are these things all shown as like upsells during that purchase process, or are they like shown through newsletters or something after the purchase?
Yeah, they're shown throughout the purchase process one at a time. So each one that I just listed, if you say no to the course, then you'll get taken to the next page, which is about the Happy Hustle Club. If you say no to that, you'll get taken to the thank you page, which asks if you want to apply. So they're individual pages, but they're all part of that purchase process.
Got it. Yeah, I like that because on one hand, if you don't do it right, like it's possible to overdo the upsells or whatever and create a bad customer experience. But on the same page, you can also do what you're doing and be really successful with it, because I think a guest we talked with recently, we were talking about this topic where they mentioned that like if you're going to have these different offers, there's somebody who's ready to buy that higher ticket offer from you right now. So why not give them the opportunity instead of waiting until a month later? Then maybe they're not ready anymore. Maybe they're already out of the whole feeling that you've created. So why not present that opportunity to them right away? So I like that take that you have of the way of doing it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and people, they buy with emotion, but they justify with logic. So throughout every single interaction of, when you're making a transaction for your course, if you're a creator, for whatever you're creating, you have to really think about, okay, people buy with emotion, but they justify with logic. So how can I get these people emotionally interested in whatever my product or service is doing? Oftentimes that's really focusing more so on the benefits, not the features of your product and service. I know a lot of creators are like, oh, my course has 10 modules, 35, hours of content. You're going to love it. That's focusing on the features, right? They don't care about that. They care about what is your course going to do. Oh, your course is going to help them lose 10 pounds so they can look great in that red bikini for their honeymoon, so they can re-spark their love life with their partner, right? Or whatever it is, right? You have to get clear on the benefits, and you have to remember justifying it with logic. Well, hey, maybe, your platform can help them reach a broader audience, like Heights. Well, okay, how can I actually justify their investment? You can show them the ROI. Always do the math throughout that transaction. So you want to show them how they can justify that purchase with that ROI. And that's really important. A couple like sales strategies. I love sales. So it's just something that I want, the creators. I know a lot of us creators are visionary artists, etc. I get it, but you have to really make sure that some of these pressure-free persuasive tactics, and making sure that you're doing the math, you're justifying with logic, and you're selling, the benefits, not the features.
Awesome. Yeah, those are all great tips. So we talked a little bit about, you described your mastermind a little bit before, but for those entrepreneurs who don't have the opportunity to go and join you in the Montana mastermind, what advice would you give them on how to disconnect from their kind of day-to-day reality and gain clarity to feel less stress or burnout?
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple easy things just to really touch on: creating barriers. Like, one thing that I think makes a huge difference: 30 minutes in the morning, no devices, no phone. As soon as you wake up, no tech. 30 minutes before bed, no devices, no tech. Like, really being diligent on that. One thing I like to do is a dopamine detox. Typically, I do like a week-long dopamine detox once a month. This is where I'll do no social media, no YouTube, no streaming shows, podcasts, all the things. Like, I avoid that. I'll read, but that is some of the most rejuvenating time. And I find like the last, week I did my dopamine detox, I made more money in that week than I did in like 3 months prior, which was crazy, but it was a ton. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's just because you're so hyper focused. You don't have all these little distractions gnawing at you constantly. So couple of key things there. And one other thing I recommend too, if you want to really do like a complete reset and like really get yourself back to homeostasis, you have to go out in nature for 3 days. There's something called the 3-day effect. It was coined by a psychologist out of Utah. And basically it means you have to really disconnect and be in nature for 3 days. And the mental and physical and emotional benefits are so exponential. It's like a laundry list of what happens: reducing cortisol levels, decreasing the inflammation in your body, all sorts of like things with REM sleep, tuning your circadian rhythm. There's so many benefits. So just getting out in nature for 3 days, that's why the Montana Mastermind is the duration it is, so we can really get into nature for that long. But yeah, for the right people who do think they, fit the bill, I'm happy to have them apply. Then go to caryjack.com/Montana. Shameless plug, but it is something that we really cultivated and I'm really proud of. And it's something for the right people that can be an absolute catalyst in their life.
Awesome. All right. So one thing we like to do in this show is have each of our guests ask a question to the audience. So if you could ask anything to our audience, what would that be?
So one question that I think made a monumental impact on my life and my journey was, what does success actually look like for you? And when you can really get clarity around what does success actually look like for you, then you can reverse engineer the process to actually achieve it. And for me, it's going to be different than Brian, right? And it's going to be different than for you out there listening and watching. But you have to get clarity on what does success actually look like for you. And I take it a step further. I look at what does success look like in each of those 10 different alignments, right? So then I know what a 5 is in, optimized health. I know what a 5 is in, nature connection. And that way you can actually start to achieve your version of success. Because if you don't define your version of success, unfortunately, you'll most likely take someone else's version of success and strive for that. And then, unfortunately, you might even reach it and then you'll realize it's unfulfilling. Then you'll have to go back and start the process all over again. So answer that question, fam.
Awesome. That's a great question. All right. Well, thanks so much, Cary. Before you get going, where else can people find you online? I know you mentioned before about the mastermind and about the book offer a little bit. Maybe you want to mention the book again, where people can find that, or just any other website.
Yeah. If you want a hard copy of the book sent to your door, you can go to thehappyhustlebook.com. You can also, reverse engineer the funnel and write down some of the things. It might be worth the creators even just going through the process. Even if you just get the book, it might be worth going through and clicking, to see the different funnel steps. The podcast, the Happy Hustle podcast, apparently now we're, top 0.5% globally based on downloads. So it's been growing. I've been getting some really cool guests on. If you want to, check out CaryJack.com. That's pretty much everything lives there. Social media, Cary Jack, CaryJack. Just here to help any way I can. If anyone has any questions, send over a DM. My team will, respond and hopefully get you a really good response. Or sometimes I'll even respond. So reach out if I can help in any way.
All right. Awesome. Thanks, Cary.
Yeah. Thanks, Brian. Peace and love, everyone.